Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Velocity Pete here from the Outdoor Retailer Show. I'm joined by our two directors of brand management, James D. and Eric Peterson. Guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for coming out to the show. It's been great so far. We're on day, 2 of 3, almost halfway through. And we've been talking to a lot of brands, and they're all sort of in the different stages of their Amazon life cycle. So I sort of just want to go through sort of what you guys are seeing out there, who you've been talking to. What are the sort of the stages you've been seeing for these brands? James.
It's been a pretty good show. You know, what I really like is the innovative. There's so many new innovative products, so that's super encouraging. But I do see a lot of common errors or common issues that I see within. How do I get my brand onto Amazon? But there's some really cool products.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of seeing too. It's more like, hey guys, what do you do? And then we're like, hey, we're an Amazon agency. And then they're like, well, what does that mean? You know, and then we start kind of going through like what our services are and all that. And then they're like, oh, that sounds super helpful, because I started to try to sell on Amazon and I didn't know what I was doing, just kind of stumbling through. So I gave up on it. So you have some brands doing that. You have some brands that are just like in that manufacturing process, and they didn't even think of Amazon as a marketplace that they should be utilizing. But I want to just piggyback on what, I think you just said, that the innovation. Yeah. There's some really great ideas at this show. Cool. Very early brands, early businesses that have these wonderful products that they're just kind of making word of mouth sales from their website. And with that, like once they kind of just get to that next level, Amazon can help them with all sorts of pain points that a small business that, like the American dream has the business out of a garage, right? So to speak. So like Amazon can be utilized if you have low staff. And it's just kind of an exciting time for these brands that we've been talking to.
Yeah, especially if they have low staff, maybe not a whole lot of time or labor to focus on Amazon. It's kind of where we come in again. Say, hey, you're getting set up, you're in the early stages, or you're not on Amazon at all. We can come in and say, hey, let's get it going for your company. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add to that, there's some. I've seen some products that could be potentially first to market, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as being a new brand or first to market, what does that roadmap look like?
Yeah.
Right. So, and we've seen these before. A lot of resources that we do have at our disposal to help roadmap that and onboard very quickly. So this is just amazing to see some of these little widgets and some fun stuff out there in the outdoor space.
No, definitely some stuff that I saw that I was like, I'd buy this on Amazon, or just in general, like for myself, like on a personal note. But like I said, we have a lot of stages. So like I said, we've seen people that aren't on Amazon but are thinking about it. Some people that have started and maybe have started and stopped. You mentioned earlier some common errors. What kind of like errors are you kind of seeing or hearing from these people that are either in any of these stages really that we either we could fix, or that they could maybe be doing better, or just easy solutions that could happen for these guys?
Yeah, errors and also not knowing, right? Mm-hmm. I think one brand came up to us that had a product and they're not on Amazon yet, but their brand is. And that is like almost panic mode. You can see the brand owner, because they're not being able to control anything that's on Amazon. Wrong pictures, wrong messaging, just a wrong experience, and that can be just a extremely overwhelming to somebody, because you're not only trying to launch your brand on Amazon, but some people have taken over your brand.
They're there already, yeah. And I know we were talking to a couple of people as well about, they're just like, these images and these, like you said, like the brand voice on Amazon already, that's not, exactly them, is really ruining them a little bit. Because if the images aren't optimized and like there's not an accurate description, and like they're selling it for like maybe cheaper than they are on their website, that's going to hurt your image.
Yeah, just to follow up on that though, like some brands don't even know it's happening.
Yeah.
So if you're not controlling your distribution and you're wholesaling it to maybe another distribution center, and that distribution center is selling it to anybody, and there's no no contract that says, hey, you can't sell on certain e-com platforms, they're going to be on Amazon. So my advice to any, very, popular brands or up and coming brands that have kind of been around a little bit, maybe they got a Shopify account or, just a website, or maybe they're selling eBay, Walmart, whatever, always kind of check Google your brand, Google yourself, go on Amazon, check, type in your brand, your best products and stuff like that, because you might already be on Amazon and you don't even know it, which can be damaging. Because like the points that you guys brought up, like the images are incorrect, the information is incorrect. You could have your best seller is being sold by somebody that's not taking care of it, and so maybe there's problems, and so now you got like a one star rating on your best product on Amazon, and you didn't even know it was happening.
And that's not easy to come back from, as we know, coming back from even like a 3.5, even something that's like even closer to like 5, sure, but I know that definitely it gets under your skin and is really not easy to like rise up back to like that 4.2 or 4.5. Some of the other problems I talked to kind of along the lines of like these third-party sellers. I was speaking to one person about they're on Amazon already, but they've got like 50 people selling, their products, and they don't even know where they're getting their products. It's not like they have distributors that like they're authorized. All these people are unauthorized. I know that's obviously a big problem, because if they're selling for cheaper, they're going to win the buy box, and you're not going to be able to sell your products from your own brand. And you don't know if these products that these third-party people are selling are like in good quality, if the packaging is a little beat up. I think that same thing that affects your brand voice and how people perceive your brand.
Which just overall impacts the customer experience.
Exactly.
And you want to have control of your customer experience.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
Yeah.
Like you might have, when you're selling maybe off of your website, maybe you take some care. Maybe you have this wonderful, beautiful package, right, that has marketing. And maybe you throw some, glitter in there with some candy or
maybe
something
a cookie
like that.
and something inside.
Yeah. A little thank you note or something. Whereas like somebody else, the third-party seller, might be throwing it in that crispy plastic bag where it's just like crunchy.
They're giving you just the crust of the pizza.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
Even if you get a bag, give me just
but it's all part of that customer experience, because you want to feel like when you buy something, it doesn't matter whether it's Amazon or at the mall or whatever, you want to feel good. Like buying things feels good. Yeah. You like, especially if it's a want and not a need, like a scooter, for example.
I've been, for context, everybody, I've been scooting around Salt Lake City. They got a lot of scooters around here. I will plug it. It's been a lot of fun. The wind rushing through your hair, hitting a pothole and like bouncing up. It's been fun.
Yeah,
but exactly.
It's been absolutely an amazing treat to watch Pete fly down the street. But going back to it, it's like, when you spend your money, you want to feel good, and you don't want to open something that's got damaged or it's just the wrong product or whatever. That impacts, because then I'm going to tell James, I'm going to be like, James, man, don't buy brand X. Their package is terrible. The product was bad. Like, you want to always just be in control of your brand, and you want to make sure that I guess you have control of your brand.
It's not even just the reviews; it's the word of mouth, like you said. Like I know people tell me all the time, like, "Oh, I bought this on Amazon, it sucked," and they know I work with Amazon, so they'll always tell me about stuff. Like, "I bought this on Amazon, it stink. Can you make that better?" Yep. I'm like, "That's no," but the same way.
See what I can do.
You tell people, they tell 3 people, they tell 3 people. I mean, it spreads. So it really is important. If you're not on Amazon and your third parties are, I think it's really important you get on Amazon. Even if you don't start out hitting the ground sprinting, you're on there to really again take back your brand. I know services like brand alignment are good at eliminating those third parties, but I think really the best way is just to get on Amazon and do it yourself. Take back your listings, take back your product, take back your brand.
Mm-hmm. But do it yourself with the help of experts.
Of an expert, someone that has been in the business for a while, and people that know Amazon like the back of their hand and can really do some really good work for you.
So, but we should I recommend that all brands kind of search themselves on Amazon, but not just their brand. Like if you're an apparel company, if you got like Polar Tech or some sort of cold weather gear or boots or whatever your products are, whatever your categories are, search that, because if you're on the fence, your competitor's already there. You're leaving money on the table. That market share is just they're just taking it, and you just got to get on there and take control of your space.
I was talking to one of the sellers here, and I did a quick 2-second viral search about the market, because they're thinking about doing Amazon. They're on they're on the fence, and I was telling them, I'm like, listen, I just did a 30-second search on my software to see what people your competitors are doing. One of their products is doing $1 million a month. So, you're missing out on potentially millions of dollars a year, multi-million dollars a year, just by, sitting on the fence. You're doing nothing on the fence. You're getting nowhere. So you either got to get off or what's I don't want to say that phrase, but the toilet, but poop or get off the pot. You got to get moving or just, you focus elsewhere. But, and obviously we're biased because this is our business, but in our opinion, you want to be on Amazon. It's just the volume, the sheer volume of people you can get, and the sheer exposure you can get from Amazon is unmatched.
Well, I think that the purchasing or the consumer path is a lot different than it was 10, 15 years ago, right? So I know all of us pretty much, we go into a brick and mortar store, we see an item or a product that we like. What is the first thing that you do?
Hold it in your hand, flip it around.
Flip it on, you look at it, but you need more information about the product. So you Google it you go into Amazon and you look to see if the product's on Amazon. Look at the reviews. If you're looking at the reviews, is it a good product? Is it cheaper on Amazon? Can I get it tomorrow? Can I get it the next day? If not, you have that impulse purchase. So it could be an assisted sale. Amazon could give your other distribution points on Amazon off platform as well. So.
Oh, yeah, that's an absolute amazing. It's an amazing point. I can't remember. That's called something, and I can't actually think of what it's called.
We're not smart enough to know that.
We're Amazon people, not brick and mortar store people.
They work us too hard.
But that's great because that's a good pro tip too. Because it's just hey, get on Amazon. Even if you don't actually want to sell on Amazon, I think it costs you $39.99 to get a business account, right, or a pro seller account or whatever. When you and you can get your brand, and then in the bullet points you can say XL, or maybe your size runs a little small, maybe it runs a little big, that consumer that's in a Costco or Kroger or Target or whatever, and they're physically touching it, and like you said, they just need a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's a good place. It's almost like making a product manual, for your customer that has it in their hand.
And it's almost, in a visual standpoint, you immediately see a product that's 3 stars on Amazon. You're next.
Yeah.
If you're at a 4.5, you're like, oh, I'm going to definitely investigate this a little bit deeper.
Yep.
Even getting further down that sales cycle. Yeah. So even at the beginning of the purchase, when you're just kind of shopping around, window shopping, you can add it to cart on your Amazon. You're not ready to buy yet. Amazon will even notify you if that's on sale in your cart. That's cool. That is amazing, right? So I think a lot of people taking advantage of that. But not only that, you're also going after different market segments. Gen X, Gen Z. You got all these new buyers, new consumers in the market. Where do they shop? They use mobile, right? We can't. They're not going to the stores as often as they're going on their smartphones to go on that purchase venture.
Well, I know that all goes back to, I was telling one of the people that I met at the show here, I was telling them they have an Amazon account, right, but they have their bullet points aren't optimized, so it's only like a very short sentence and not the full. How many text do they want? How many characters do they want in the bullet point? 150.
It keeps changing.
125 depends what category.
I thought it was 250 on some. Some are 120.
125, and then I think even 85 I've seen.
Yeah,
who knows?
I think those
it'll change tomorrow.
Yeah.
Either way, they didn't have the recommended amount of characters. Yep. And I'm like, well, it goes back to that confidence level, in shoppers. If they don't have as much information as possible, they might not be as easily as influenced to purchase this as if they had a whole big description of you can use it like this. If they have the listing has pictures with people actually using the product, or a video of hey, this is from one of our shoppers, or in the reviews there's a video of someone using it. It all comes back down to that confidence level of I feel good about purchasing this because other people did it and I liked it. It's not just the reviews. I think it's the bullet points and the images and all that kind of good stuff and that kind of stuff as well.
It's all the package. It all ties in.
Yeah, but the other thing too about with that, right? Yeah. If you only have a couple of bullet points in there, you're going to only organic rank on some of that stuff, and now then you're going to rely heavily on advertising to push into that listing for those keywords to start indexing. And if you're not indexing on certain keywords, the big ones snow boots, for example, or
Apparel, snow apparel,
yeah,
winter
snow
apparel,
apparel,
anything like
any of that.
yeah.
If that's not in your listing, advertising is going to have to make up for that, and they're going to have to keep pumping that to get your seller, your BSR, to get you, start to ranking up on those closer to the front page.
And you got to pay for advertising. You don't got to pay for typing in a keyword.
Right,
so in your bullet points. That's exactly what I was just going to. I forgot to mention that. I was talking to the guy and I was looking. He actually pulled up his Amazon for me, and I was scrolling through it, looking at it, and I was like, "Oh, your bullet points only have a couple sentences." And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, you're ranking on keywords that aren't in there. Your competitors might be, and they might be beating you out for the top spot." I was also explaining to him about the whole there's only 30 listings on a page, and I would say 99% of people don't go past page 2. So if you're not in that top 30 or even really in that top 15, 10, you're missing out on countless sales, and that's sort of easily fixed. You can get closer to that top 10, but just having these bullet points, giving the customers more confidence, but on an Amazon term level, ranking on these keywords, including that in your SEO and really showing up on winter apparel, winter boots, anything like that. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just to kind of add to that, looking at all that data, right? Amazon's full of data, so being able to really analyze that data and then come to conclusions. There could be short string terms and so forth that you could search for, or even complementing products that people have added to the basket that you're not even targeting. So if you have let's say snow boots, it's $5 a click, but they added a cart to, and it's a clip-on or a backpack. The backpack might be only $1 per click. You can start targeting some popular backpacks with your snow boots or gloves or whatever maybe that we can analyze. But
I'll tell you, when I do my audits for the accounts, the biggest thing I see is ad spend. I'm like, what are you looking at? How much of this is wasted? What are you not spending on? But another thing I like to look at, really focus on, and really what I think gets a lot of our potential partners is, hey, your competitors are ranking on these keywords. They're number one, and it's a super important. It might just be something. It might not be the most, the highest volume or the most amount of sales, but when you stack these keywords up that all have 10 sales, and your competitors are at number 1, and you're at 5 or 6, or even lower on the page, maybe is usually what usually happens. It scares them. I get I can't really give you an example off the top of my head, but when someone is a competitor is ranking on those keywords higher up, they're like, oh, why am I on those keywords? And I go in their listings, I'm like, you don't have this in here anywhere. You don't have it in the back end. Yeah. You don't have it on the back end.
I mean, that's a whole other thing. But,
it's a whole other episode. They're not on there.
If you're on Amazon right now, just search your brand.
Yeah.
And if those display ads, or you're not, or if you don't have those top 3-4 spots sponsored product ads, I mean, you gotta get in there. And then the other thing too is, if you're on your own listing and you got competitors on your listing, you got to get those defense ads. But we don't have to go into that too much.
That's a whole other episode.
You'll
see that episode. You'll see that episode later in our series here.
Yeah. Talk about rabbit holes.
There you go.
Rabbit holes, our Easter segment.
To jump to sort of another topic, another question I've kind of been asked a lot when I'm going around talking to these people is Walmart and Shopify. People are always like, well, I'm on Shopify, but I'm not on Amazon, and I think that'd be too complicated to have a process to have 2 inventories and 2 this kind of thing. And same thing with Walmart. I'm on Walmart, but I want to get in the store, and I want to get in other stores like in Target and stuff like that too. I know, to start with Shopify, I know buy with Prime or multi-channel fulfillment is definitely an option for these people. Is there some sort of collaboration they can do between Shopify and Amazon to sort of make their shipping process easier? I know there's multi-channel fulfillment that they could use, but is there anything that they could maybe make their life a little bit easier when they have a Shopify and they want to break into Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon has a new program, and actually they just partnered with Shopify. So they have a program called Buy with Prime. So what this enables is the Amazon experience at checkout on your website. So you get the Prime badge, buyer confidence levels are there as well. And far as we know, it's a simple 3 clicks, and you could have that installed on your Shopify platform.
Hey Jay, since a lot of these vendors here at at the event here are kind of new to Amazon, can you give us a little bit, I think you skipped a couple of steps. So all the listeners out there that maybe are kind of new, what do we got to do? How do I connect my product? Do I have to do I ship it out of my warehouse?
Yeah, totally. The basic process is you have to have a seller account. That's stage one.
Step one, yeah.
Step one. You got to be on Amazon.
Yeah.
And then what you do is determine what inventory that you would like to have on your from the FBA, right? Everybody's pretty much familiar with FBA, right?
If they're not, what is FBA?
FBA enables so you have your Prime members, subscribers that can get the product within days, right? Amazon fulfills that product for you as a seller, as a brand. So you ship it into Amazon. Amazon then sends it to your customer. Amazon actually owns the customer at that point as well, which could be a drawback. But we'll touch on that in a minute. So utilizing some of all those FBA features, right? Real-time processing, real-time order fulfillment, storage, everything done by Amazon can now be fulfilled on your website. Okay, so then you basically talk to an agency like us, or we can put you in touch with somebody at the Buy with Prime team to get that connected. Shopify is a partner and enables that on a real seamless platform, seamless integration.
Wow.
Okay,
So like multi-channel fulfillment, like when you put your Shopify
part
or
of that
Amazon thing on your website, they're pulling it from your FBA inventory.
Correct.
It's the same thing with Buy with Prime on Shopify.
It is a separate inventory, so you can basically allocate that inventory for Buy with Prime as well as FBA.
Wow.
Okay, so you do get a lot of different control panels, but not only that, with Buy with Prime, when people purchase through that program on your website, you also get customer data, but still getting all the Amazon benefits, which is huge.
Yeah, but like you got to think too though. So if you're new to this marketplace, like Amazon or Shopify or Walmart, or maybe you're on eBay, maybe you're doing all these marketplaces. It can be very confusing. So the Buy with Prime option, it allows your inventory manager or your warehouse team to only have to kind of really worry about the Amazon inventory, because now they don't have to worry about Shopify, because you're sending that inventory into one place instead of worrying about it in two different places.
Absolutely, and then I'm glad you brought that up. Even if you're noticing bottlenecks in your own 3PL, in your own warehouse, there might be one product that is just bogging you down to get all the other products out. You can let Amazon have that, right? Basically, put it off your plate.
Yeah.
That way, it frees up your warehouse to concentrate on other products as well.
Yeah.
To ship out. So that's a good point there. You can really diversify your inventory. Let Amazon handle certain things, and then they'll take care of it for you on that end, and then you can concentrate on others.
Cool. And I know that there's some vendors, some businesses, they actually manufacture their products themselves. And so having to pick, pack, ship onesies and twosie orders from your Shopify account, that will eliminate some of their time, their busy work to fill these orders. So you just do one maybe pallet order to Amazon, and now it's kind of set it and forget it. Amazon orders go out through Amazon with that pallet, then your Shopify, your website orders go out, while your warehouse team now can focus on that assembly, or that making sure that, like we were talking earlier, where we have those the fancy marketing boxes, you're putting stuff in there, making that the customer experience, you're elevating the customer experience. So like you're saying no to one thing, but you're saying yes to the other, you know what I mean? So it really frees up your warehouse time sometimes.
So like I said, going back to like the Amazon button, like having it on your Shopify, I know Amazon's the biggest online retailer, definitely, and having that button on there really builds confidence. I know the site I use to send flowers, remotely, has a Buy with Amazon button, and I trust that more than I see when I see buy with just like buy on the website. And
I'll stop you there. Are you sure it's that? Because we're talking about Buy with Prime, but that's Amazon Pay. So that's another program. So that's another opportunity in case you don't have a good way to collect money, or if you're not using PayPal, or if you want
merchant processing,
or if you want to add that, because some people only feel comfortable using Amazon, right?
Yeah.
So you could do your Apple Pay, your Google Pay, your PayPal, boom, Amazon Pay.
It's definitely interesting. Again, even like you said, having the Amazon Pay button, having the Buy with Prime button on your website, builds that confidence. Going back to that confidence level, people trust that this is coming from the biggest online retailer in the world. So absolutely.
Just to add to that, with the reviews and seeing those reviews, do you trust regular website reviews, or do you trust Amazon reviews?
Amazon reviews,
hands down, right?
Easily.
It's heavily policed. It's known for it. It's got the brand share there as well. So
And And it's helpful too, and like not to like offend any new brands, but like new brands sometimes have like you only have so much startup money, and maybe you spend it on your warehouse team, maybe you spend it on this, maybe you spend it on that, maybe you didn't spend $30,000 on a website, so your website might just be in that beginning stage where it's kind of like a little bit awkward. It's like a kid going through puberty, right? It's just kind of awkward, but it might not be to that high standard. But and so sometimes customers will go to that website and be like, I'm a little skittish, like a deer trying to drink water, But if you have that Amazon Pay button, that kind of like
that confidence
that makes me comfortable. Like I'm not going to get my money's not. I'm not going to get robbed or whatever.
And if they don't have Buy with Prime, kind of going back to the multi-channel fulfillment, if they don't have Buy with Prime set up but they do have multi-channel fulfillment, is there something on there that says, hey, this ships from Amazon?
You can
can you do that?
Great question, because when everybody's buying from Amazon, you're gonna get that Amazon box. You got the arrow, and it's Amazon box, right?
Yeah.
There is an option in the back end of your seller account where you can click basically opt into blank boxes. Uh-huh. So when you MCF and that you're actually using FBA, the Amazon, like what we were just kind of talking about, as your shipper, you're kind of using them as a 3PL, again, to kind of free up your warehouse time. So when somebody buys from your website, the MCF comes from Amazon in a blank box.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. With that option to toggle the no Amazon box off, I imagine Amazon maybe wouldn't like that. Is there a fee to that, or is that just included in the multi-channel fulfillment?
No, there's a fee associated with it. Amazon loves it.
I was saying, Amazon loves their branding. So,
but don't get hung up on the fees, right? Because like everything's going to cost money. Like if your warehouse team is touching a box one time and then they touch it again, I mean it's cost. So in this case, you have your team pick, pack, ship that FBA pallet, goes to Amazon. And now Amazon fulfills that. You're not moving stuff from the warehouse. I think most warehouses, it's like 25 cents to like 35 cents every time their employee touches a package.
Yeah.
So this would eliminate that, and then again, like free up time if there's maybe an assembly or to do other things.
Yeah, it's pretty simple too. When you go into your seller account, click the information, put all the customer information in, it'll tell you how much the cost is to ship that out
on a multi-channel.
Yeah, real simple. It's great for influencers if you're sending samples. Mm-hmm. So you can really utilize it to your advantage. But yeah, just like what Eric was saying, maybe even having a mix match, right? You have some multi-channel, you got some Buy with Prime, you have your own 3PL. That way it's spread across. One of the, talking with brands too, some of the things that they do like about FBA or the Buy with Prime is Amazon's handling all the customer service with it as well. Okay, so if someone's buying from your website and then buy through any of those programs, they might get phone calls. Amazon will kind of take care of that for them if they purchase through Amazon. You don't own the data unless it's Buy with Prime, which is a real cool feature. I'm like super shocked Amazon was able to do that.
Yeah, it's great.
Kind of going back to what you said about the cost and the price like that, it kind of ties into, I don't know if I want to get too off topic into this, but like FBA versus FBM, I've been hearing about that a lot here as well. And obviously for bigger products like some like the more bulkier stuff and weightier stuff, you maybe want to do FBM. You wouldn't want to maybe incur those storage fees. But I know people have been asking me a lot about like Amazon's personal fees, and I know there's the FBA fee, there's the regular it's being on Amazon fee. You're mentioning these boxes and the fees like that. I know prices for if you want to use Amazon's barcodes if you're a new brand that doesn't have them yet. You can buy their FN SKUs and use them. Amazon will stick them on them when they get to the warehouse. Can we go a little bit about all of these prices and sort of again like doing all this stuff yourself wouldn't be free. But with Amazon, you're paying for the service you get. So you can go a little bit about FBA fees and all that kind of good stuff.
So it really just depends on your business model. If you're using a 3PL, if you're using your own warehouse, if you're just whatever your business, like what your business needs from these services. So like FBM would be that your warehouse picks, packs, and ships every one of your orders. Mm-hmm. But they're like I have some clients that are having issues with that because they have like a handling time, right? So like maybe you don't want to ship Saturdays or Sundays, so then you only ship Monday through Friday. And if your handling time is 2 days, and then you're in the, I don't know, maybe you're in East Coast and you got an order coming to California, that's going to add like maybe 3 to 5 days. So if your handling time is 2 days and then the ship time is 3 to 5 days, now you're looking at 5 to 7 days for that customer to buy that product. If your customer or if your competitor has FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon, they're going to give that Prime badge and they're going to get a guaranteed 2-day delivery, right, for the most case. So if you're in a very competitive, saturated market and your shipping time is 10 days and your competitor is 2 days, they're going to nope out of there and jump over to your competitor. So, I mean, that's part of it. But if we're talking strictly cost, it just really depends on your package. If you have, if you sell bounce houses, right? I mean, that's a huge product, and you're probably going to get nailed with some storage fees at Amazon. So it's probably not going to work out for you to go FBA. If you sell like little pins, I guess I lost my pins.
Oh, you lost them all?
Totally lost my pins. But if you have these little pins that James here has on his badge here, they're tiny little things. You can send 10,000 of those into Amazon, and you're not going to hit storage fees and stuff like that. So
and they've got their small and light program still.
They
right?
do.
I know is that what it's called? I know they kind of got it's automatic right now. It's not, you don't have to opt into it.
You have to enroll.
You still have to enroll. Oh, okay.
Yep,
and it's under $11.99 and under a certain weight or something like that in size.
It's been a little while, but it's
something like that. But that they charge you less for the lighter items like these pins, like we said.
Yep,
absolutely. So it really comes again, all comes down to like what you're selling.
It does, and if you guys are out there interested, we can help you with a cost analysis to say this is the way you want to do it. FBM, FBA. Typically, FBA is going to have a better shipping rate than what you're going to get with your shipper. Yeah. But that's just another bonus using Amazon partnered carriers.
They're a distributor giant. Like they know they wouldn't be here if they didn't know what they were doing.
Yep.
Well, it's getting the product, just like what we were talking about, the consumer experience. They're getting the product in 2 days. Can you provide? Can you even do that as a 3PL? If you can't, you really need to consider doing FBA if it's economical.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, like I was just telling you guys, like when I'm lazy on Sundays sometimes and I want a bag of chips, I can get a bag of chips in 6 hours. I have a distribution center right next to my house, so you can't do that with FBM.
I got a good story too. I have a distribution center near my house in Atlanta, and I needed a backpack for this trip here. I got it in 6 hours.
Yeah. You're just like, oh my God, I forgot. I got to get this thing.
So powerful, right?
Yeah.
And as this keeps on happening, changing the whole buyer aspect, right? It's changing the consumer's mindset. But just to go back to the FBA, FBM, we've seen a lot of brands even have both. We toggle back and forth. So as your product starts, maybe there's a delay or anything like that, we can always convert it back to FBM, let you fulfill those orders while you have more in transit.
Yeah.
Okay. And then once it hits his Amazon's warehouse, you can then flip it back to FBA, and you're still rocking and rolling.
No, I've done that before when I was a brand manager. I definitely utilized having the copy the listing and just do one's FBA, one's FBM, and it allows there's never really like an out of stock issue kind of, or also just like if the FBA order's in transit, you don't have, it's not there yet, you have your FBM listing to kind of get a backup cover. So absolutely. What is sort of like the process? I know there's a lot of Amazon likes a lot of the safety data sheets and all these, like if your food, you have to have the FDA certification, all this stuff. These people, they need help getting started. They need help. They don't get the full concept of like what they kind of have to do after like they put in their banking information and open the account and the business information like that. So what are some of the hoops that they need to jump through? Depending on, of course, on the product, in the category that you're in. But like, what are some of these hoops that you need to really, like, what they need to do to hit the ground and start running?
Great question. What do you need to do?
Take a big old deep breath, and then here we go. What do you got, James? What's James'
magic? That's a real loaded question. So you have a product, right? SKUs, ASINs, UPCs, right? You got
Barcodes.
there's
From barcodes from where, James?
Yeah, GS1.
Well,
Only.
Brand registry.
Only
There's a lot of
GS1.
little different processes, but I think the ultimate thing is when you set up a Seller Central account. I think Eric was kind of talking about that on the $39.99 Pro Seller account. Okay, once you establish that portion, the first thing that you need to do is register your brand. You got to go start getting those brand features and brand protection features to protect your IP.
You need You need a trademark.
You need to get a trademark.
U.S. Oh, well, do you need a trademark for whatever country you're selling in, or do you need a U.S. trademark to get brand registered?
Nope. You do need a U.S. trademark if you want to sell here in the United States. Canada has a trademark as well. Other countries follow suit.
And there's the IP Accelerator that gets you going over there.
Yeah. But like before we get into that a little bit, so like step one, you get that seller account, right? You just go to Amazon. I'm gonna sign up for my account, right? It takes about 4 days. They got to verify you. You got to get a bank account, all that stuff.
They're getting a lot stricter as well.
Yeah. So like, let's say that's done. In my preference is to get a brand registry account. Which what is a brand registry account? It's Amazon brand registry. That is kind of what we're talking about. Getting your brand that's trademarked from the USPTO into brand registry. Okay, so they're two separate platforms, but they're connected. And that once you have that Amazon brand registry, you get those perks and benefits and things like that. And I highly advise that if you're going to do your seller account, your main account. I mean, we should even talk about this a little bit. I mean, you guys,
there's a loaded question.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff.
It's a whole other episode.
But like, so, and then we always kind of joke about this too, because like we run into clients a lot that they're like, hey guys, we're coming to you and having an agency. So we have a lot of clients that come in and they say stuff like, we had an internal guy or woman or whatever, and they quit. Help us. And then we start to discover that they left with the main account on the seller, on Seller Central. So on Seller Central, you're going to have a main account user, and sometimes that person leaves. And so when they try to do anything, there's a one-time passcode that goes to that person's cell phone, and maybe they don't have contact with that person anyway. So the point of this though is when you set that account up, make sure that you're doing like, I see a lot of like Amazon at your business name or info Amazon at, like they're just, you just say Amazon in your username just so like you have that Amazon email where you're getting notifications that are just fed to that instead of like destroying your regular email with the other things that you're doing. So whatever email that you pick should also be used in brand registry. So that way it's super easy. If you ever run into any sort of issues with your brand and trademark, you can say, hey, Amazon, I own this brand. My email is on my seller account, and it's the same that's matched with the USPTO.
It's all connected. Yeah.
And then James, you want to talk about going into like if you don't have a USPTO, like there's an Amazon service.
There's other ways. Also, if you're not officially trademarked yet, you can use the IP Accelerator. So Amazon has a talent pool of attorneys that you can get connected with that will help register your trademark by going through their preferred the preferred attorney list. It expedites the process a little bit faster is what we're noticing. As soon as you put the application in, you start getting those brand features attached to the account. Okay.
So it's like A+ brand store, which I know is huge on ads and stuff like that.
It's a whole toolkit. Yeah, it's
whole,
a massive toolkit for brands.
Pandora's box. Amazon's
definitely
box.
needed on that. So you have the IP Accelerator, but some of the other benefits too, like if you did go through us as an agency and being an agency partner, we have relationships within Amazon. We have whole departments. Depending on your phase or your level of business, will determine what departments that we can get access to and actually get a rep for a year. Which is huge.
Crucial, right? I mean, they're going to help you
massive
get started a lot quicker than if you just did it by yourself.
They kind of help walk things in the background. We do the heavy lifting as an agency. They kind of help guide us through the complexity of Amazon. The river, think of Amazon River through the jungle. They're the ones kind of the tour guide to kind of help us navigate through
on your
these
left. You'll
complexities.
see James D in his natural habitat.
But before, like, then aside with all the like the brand registered, bonuses and benefits and stuff. I mean, that's another conversation. But just to kind of keep it, in line with what we're kind of saying is like get that seller account, get your brand registry done.
Right.
And now you're ready to just start adding your SKUs to Amazon. That's internal use only. So whatever your warehouse team needs to have to identify, maybe you have your warehouse is got different, bin headers and stuff like that. That's for you. The customer is never going to see that. So when you create a SKU, that's internal, and then an ASIN is Amazon's SKU. And that you'll get as soon as you create a listing, you get an ASIN. So like you do your SKU, which is internal, then you get an ASIN, and then that ASIN is used for Amazon's system and stuff like that. So like you can have as many and this is gonna get complex. You know what? I'm not even gonna go into it.
Don't even.
So
That's a whole nother
we're just
episode.
gonna we're
But
just
the
gonna
ASIN is front facing. I know I see that in the URL.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people are looking at that.
Yep.
But, as Amazon people, we look at that.
Yep.
But absolutely. But
Yep. So like to basically recap, you get the seller account, get your brand registry, then add your SKUs to the system, and then if you decide to go FBM or FBA, that's completely up to you because we kind of already talked about that a little bit. But that's going to be an internal conversation that you have, or you start to weigh the benefits and the pros and cons, I suppose, costs and all that kind of stuff. But as soon as you add that SKU, and let's say you're going to do FBM, FBM you just add you can manually add inventory to it. You're live that day.
Yeah, you definitely check the ship template. You can customize ship templates within Amazon for FBM. Whether you want standard delivery, free, expedited, you can actually hook up APIs to that. For that way, it pulls the orders into your current logistics software or whatever it may be. So you can really automate Amazon as well to kind of work with you. You can make it work as a manual process or automate depending on where you're at with your business.
Yeah.
And the tools are pretty economical as well.
I know Amazon has a lot to offer, in terms of getting this set up and helping you. I know they just don't want you to jump into the frying pan or the fire, and they want you to kind of saute it a little bit and give you a little help and really make things easier on you. So I know you're not alone, obviously. Like I know I said that's a cheesy line, but it's Amazon's a wild west and space and the last frontier and everything, all that combined. And so it definitely is not going to be easy to get set up, but like we said earlier, just the sheer volume of it is definitely, I would say, worth it to get started. And if we're going back to the fence,
If you're on the fence, just send us an email.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
we'll give you, like I said, that audit is not just for existing Amazon customers. We get in there and we'll take a look at the market that's currently on there compared to your products. So if you sell bouncy houses and there's already 50 or so competitors on Amazon selling bouncy houses, I can get in there and take a look at their keywords, where they're ranking, how they're doing sales wise. I take a look at all the information and say, based on your price point and your information about the product, like what sets you apart from these existing customers, we can get in there and say, we think you're going to do great. We think you're going to do okay to start. We have to build up a little bit, when we're honest. If we think you're not going to do good on Amazon, we're like, sorry.
But just to add to that, once you look at the landscape and the roadmap, looking at the whole big picture, we build that roadmap.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's where where a lot of new sellers they go in blind. They're just like, I got this product, I need to jump in. We can do a complete analysis and really just kind of help guide that path or pave that way. If you're new to market, we can really start creating some good audiences for you. So there's just so much to Amazon. It's amazing.
I've been talking to a lot of the people here that are just like, I don't know, who's on Amazon. I don't know if my competitors are on Amazon or not. And I'm like, I can almost guarantee you they are.
They are.
And I don't know that yet.
Absolutely.
I can give you a definitive answer in these audits. I can go online and see, hey, like there's your Bouncy House, your Bouncy House Pro, Bouncy House experts are on Amazon. They're selling their castles and their stuff and their inflatable dragons. And I haven't been a Bouncy House in years, so I don't really know. But they're selling their stuff. They're on Amazon, and you are not. And you are missing out on sales. And you are missing out on the market share of the people that want to buy a Bouncy House on Amazon, which I can't imagine that's huge. So sorry for all the Bouncy House companies watching, but as an example, you're missing out. You're missing out on the market share that you could be claiming. Like these, going back to my example earlier, like these people are missing out on millions of dollars a month on one product.
Yeah.
Goes kind of back to we'll maybe we'll bookend the cast here today. Whereas if there is a market for your product, unless you're completely niche and you're innovative, which is 1%, right?
Even still, early adopters want that stuff. But
right.
yeah.
But it's your competitors are already there, so you might as well get there. And if your competitor is, like you said, $1 million a month, and you're like, well, I'm late to the game, I probably shouldn't do it. But it's like, all you got, if you take 1% of that share, 5% of that share, 10% of that share, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's going right to your and
Play
that's
the
on your
long.
bottom line.
Yeah.
I don't
Play
know
the
if I
long
can.
game.
Yeah,
Totally play
always
the
play
long
the
game.
long game,
Always
right?
play the long.
I know, for example, like to kind of say, like, people are already on Amazon, or if there's someone's late to the game like that, if they're like, oh, I started much later than this other company that already is doing really well. Speaking about water bottles, like the Hydro Flask was not the first insulated water bottle. They were not. You know what they were? They were the first ones on Amazon.
Yeah.
They were the better marketers.
Yeah.
Hydro Flask, Yeti, like they weren't. This wasn't a new idea when they came
Right.
around. But they got on Amazon and they marketed better than the people that were first. And I haven't even heard. I think another one was like Cowboy water bottles. I haven't heard about that at all.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're on Amazon. So it just goes to show you, like, that's a real world example of your competitors are there. Well, this was great, guys. I appreciate you having this discussion with me, and thanks again for coming out. And I really appreciate you helping Velocity, inform these people in the different stages of their Amazon life and career, and maybe we can help them out.
Mm-hmm.